Welcome to Executive Corner. It's an innovation of the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF. JFF exec members will enjoy this innovation because it will give you a world of insight into content from the JFF before everyone else gets it. We're going to, of course, disseminate for the benefit of all football lovers. But of course, as an executive member, you get the advantage of getting exclusive content real time, and you'll be able to discuss before others have even seen it. How this program will work over the coming weeks and months is that we'll have executives in this space. So I'll be speaking with the JFF boss, the JFF general secretary, other executives of the Football Federation. I'll be speaking to entertainers who love the beautiful game. And many of them do, local and international entertainers, celebrities also who have an interest in football. And of course, the most important people of all, the players themselves will be stopping by. So your favorite player could be sat next to me not too long from now, talking about his or her time as a player wearing the national colors. The next few weeks, of course, will focus on the activities of the Reggae Boys as they prepare for tilt at the Gold Cup. Of course, it's a tournament that we've never lifted. Jamaica, undoubtedly the best team never to have lifted the CONCACAF Gold Cup. And Steve McLaren and his men are primed for a capital effort this time as they try to change history. We will also have in this space people who are senior officials, not just in football, but in global sport. You know that the International Olympic Committee is arguably the most powerful sporting organization in the world. And the man representing the Jamaica Olympic Committee at those IOC meetings, Chris Samuda, we're trying to get people like himself, along with the minister in charge of sport, Olivia Bagsby-Green, because we want to talk about the policy of sport. And of course, I've told you that where the strategies and tactics implementing sport being played and the players themselves, they'll get their highlight. Why are we doing this? We're doing this because we want to bring the JFF into the modern age. It's 2025. You can stay at home and speak to your friend live on the International Space Station, yeah, whether on FaceTime or whatever social media you prefer. So we want to bring the JFF full circle. The JFF these days is a different JFF. It's a JFF that has been freed from the debt, the millstone of debt that held it back for so long. They've brought new people into the organization to give new ideas to the achievements that it has set down, and those new people have brought with them new ideas. Speaking of new people, I'm going to speak to one of them now in this inaugural episode of Executive Corner. He's Gario Graham. He's the man leading Kingston Made Production, and he has a very important job to get you the insight into the reggae boys and reggae girls that you've always craved. Gario, welcome to Executive Corner. You're a history maker, sir. You're the first guest.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thank you, George. It's a pleasure meeting you. Pleasure being in JFF Live. I'm proud of the growth that we started out, I think, back in January, and now we're here early April. Just looking forward to the continuous growth.
Jamaica's football is an interesting proposition, if you can frame it like that. It has the potential to be so much more than it already is. Despite the rich history that it has, you look at it and you say, but we could have achieved so much more. We leave the playing to the players, but it is the job of people like yourself to build up things, products around the football that can bring the football fan closer to the game, make them feel more connected. And that's what Kingston Made Productions' mission is, isn't it?
No, I mean, absolutely. I mean, you're wearing a jersey right now, right, with the big Adidas logo on it. And I remember when they first launched that kit, I was living in LA, not too far from the mall. And literally, I thought I had all day to go get a jersey. I thought I had all week, actually, to go get a jersey. It took my sweet time. I walked to the mall literally less than a week. The kit was unveiled. Walk into the Adidas store, ready to buy a jersey, all gone, sold out. In LA, which isn't necessarily known for the Jamaican diaspora. But so to your point, absolutely, there's so much growth there to connect with the Jamaica fan base, the Jamaica football community globally around football, around the reggae boys, the reggae girls. And that's my overall aim, right, is to bring that, to basically build that bridge, connect that bridge to the fans, the players, the executives, and everyone that's involved, the policymakers, right? Because that's going to be the only way we take this brand even bigger than what it is right now.
I must acknowledge the work, Gario. of various reggae boys forums over time. There are some very popular ones where the debate has raged about matters concerning Jamaica's senior teams and junior teams as well, age group teams, both male and female. And they have been the ones. If you want to get an insight into what is happening around the football on the field, you go to these fan forums and you get these insights. What you are trying to do, your mission, is to formalize that, give that a formal structure. Of course, this is not to kill the fan forums, but this is just to get the formalized structure around things off the field and the things that make what happens on the field richer. And it's a mission I'm sure you're excited to take on.
No, absolutely. And to your point, it's not to kill the fan forum. It's that you cannot invite millions of fans into camp, right? That would be madness, right? So it's only us. Like I had the privilege. I've been to the under 17s camp for boys as they try to qualify for the World Cup. I've been to the camp for the reggae girls. We broadcast that game in Peru. I've been to the reggae boys camp, and when I tell you, like, I've seen things that I've been a lifetime fan, right? So being in camp allowed me to capture these content, which you can now see on JFF Live, and more. Speaking with family members, right? Seeing who they are on a personal level, and obviously we want to move with a level of sensitivity, right? So you want to respect players' boundaries and make sure that they're comfortable around you and that they know that you're there as an asset and not someone there to trap them in any way possible. But yes, that is the goal. We have millions of fans across the world. We cannot invite them all at camp. However, how can JFF Live be that mouthpiece, be that representation for the fans?
Yeah, and you speak of camp, and I was going to go there because the aim is to make JFF Live so much richer than it already is. So people say, well, I buy a subscription, so am I to content myself with just getting live games here and there? And you're saying, no. If you have a JFF Live subscription, it is a window to a world of content that you are now looking to create and organize.
Absolutely. And I want you guys to look at it as a rewards program, right? We're already tracking those members who started out with us from day one, from February to now, and those who just signed up after a successful week in Kansas City and Houston that tuned into those games. You JFF Live members are on a short list to receive rewards that's coming up, right? I'm gonna get into what some of those rewards are. They're big, they're massive, but yes, you're not only gonna be watching content, but being a JFF Live member, we're gonna take you and bring you in some of these spaces, special invites, special giveaways. You're gonna have access to information that no one else have, and so much more we're gonna get to in a second. But absolutely, it's gonna be a rewards program for our most loyal fans.
Yeah, and as you speak, I'm thinking of Jay-Z's A Story of OJ when he says, "I'm trying to give you a game for $1.99," but we're doing it for more than that.
And that's I like to consider that as like you guys are all early investors, right? At the end of the day, when my background, I started out with Amazon Prime, Thursday Night Football, all 17 city when it first launched. We're not Prime Videos, right? However, we're JFF Live. We're building this from the ground up, something that hasn't been done in Jamaica football. So you guys are actually investing in the growth of this program, which I hope and pray that you're around in 5 years, 10 years, and say, wow, I could see I saw the first steps, and now I'm here at this product that is massive.
All right, so let's get into it now, Gario, because JFF Live is the product that we have people subscribing to. What is in store for them where tournaments are concerned, tournaments like the Unity Cup and the Gold Cup?
Absolutely. So immediately, Unity Cup is coming out, just announced. We're working with international partners that I've worked with for years to bring a massive watch party in London. And we have a strong demographic. I want to say about 17% of our JFF Live members globally are from London. And if you want to travel to London for the Unity Cup, go ahead. But do know if you're a JFF Live member, you're going to get free access to the most massive watch party that is going to be thrown. So you're going to be able to be coming to these venues for free and have fun with the JFF Live product. Be on camera, interviews, capture content with us, speak football with us, and obviously watch the game amongst peers. Watch the games amongst other JFF Live fans, and to build this community globally. Well organized, well run, and it will be super entertaining, exciting, and I just can't wait. And then after that, we have the Gold Cup, something planned as well, something in LA where I currently live, another massive watch party, but it's going to be a twist to it. We're going to bridge food, art, music, and of course our Jamaican culture around the Gold Cup. Obviously, any minute now we're gonna find out where we'll be playing. It might be LA, it might be up in the Valley, up in the Bay Area. Not 100% sure yet, but we will be doing something for our JFF Live members. And if you're not JFF Live members, you're more than welcome to come, but you will be missing out on a few perks.
Absolutely so. Absolutely wonderful. And let me tell you this. The aim of what is being offered through JFF Live is to form a strong community. And here's the thing. Communities have been formed already, as we've established, through the fan forums that have kept the flag flowing high. But there is an unstructured element to it. We're trying to bring structure and certainty so that you can see the value you're getting for the cost of your subscription.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I've got to meet some of these community reggae boys and girls community leaders, right? I've met Kyle Wallace, I've met Errol, and I met a few others, and the word structure is what I said to them. Hey, we want to keep building this community, but we want to unify everything under one place where we can all say this is a structure we're all following, and we're not going out of that, because what happens, it becomes chaos. It becomes unorganized. People become disengaged. But when it is organized, when you know that there is something that is going to happen, these are the scheduling, these are the timelines, and all you got to do is send an email to Avery Campbell, the marketing director, Gario Graham, the executive for Kingston May Production, and you'll get a clean email with a flushed out timeline and flushed out directions.
All right. Gario, I'm a huge Diego Maradona fan. Yeah. My son's middle name is Diego. Yes, okay. I had to make the great man live on.
R.I.P. to the legend.
Through young George. Yeah. So here's the thing. I say that to say that now a lot of footage is on YouTube of Maradona in camp. So it's Maradona in the Napoli camp doing things behind the scenes. Maradona in the Argentinos Juniors camp, because many people would say, which Argentine club is Maradona associated with? Oh, Boca Juniors. No, Argentinos Juniors is where he emerged, Newell's Old Boys, Boca Juniors, and then overseas. So I'm saying that to say, there is a lot of rich content waiting to be captured in camp as the men and women, males and females, representing Jamaica at various age group levels get ready to defend the shirt in tournaments or in qualification phases. So I say to you, what is in the offing for subscribers to JFF Live where content in camp is concerned?
Well, great example using Maradona, because we have some legends here in Jamaica. We have Bunny Shaw, top 15 in the world right now. We have Leon Bailey, killing it at Ashton Villa, right? We want to capture our legends and legends in the making as they're going from each game, practice, and look back and say, wow, like we were there from the very beginning, right? And then now if you are part of JFF Live and you are selected to come and meet these legends, watch them practice in person, have a well-organized meet and greet where the athletes feel safe, the athletes feel loved and protected by fans and the committee, right? Then that is a huge reward, right? We don't want our athletes to feel like this is organized, this is chaos, what is going on, which will create resentment by the fans. Yes. But now when we create an organized process, the fans are going to be welcomed in, the athletes will be excited to be there, and everyone wins, And so if you're a child right now, 7 years old, and you're going to a Reggae Boys and Girls game, there will be a situation set up through JFF Live where you can meet your favorite athlete. I was in St. Vincent just a few weeks ago, and if you go online, you'll see I myself captured Leon Bailey interacting with the Ball Boys there in St. Vincent, and they showed him so much love. That's the human side I want to show people. Leon was, this is my opinion, he was such a superstar in that moment, not just on the field, but in that moment, how he interacted with those Ball Boys, because they're looking up at him as the example. Yeah,
and one of the things that I'd like to see from in camp, and you said something very early, which is very important, that in camp we're still respecting the privacy of the athletes, because they're not on the stage just yet, but we have the access, so we're taking responsible privileges to capture some of what is here. One of the things I'd like to see, for instance, Gary, I'm sure that the ladies and gentlemen representing the Reggae Boys. From time to time, they're in camp and they're having a contest to see who can juggle the most with a bottle of water. Water bottle juggling contest. These are the things you want to put on JFF Live for the benefit of the subscribers.
No, absolutely, and a great example. And I'm actually going to use something that recently happened with Shamar Nichols Boza. They did a scrimmage in practice, and the losing team had to go down and do push-ups. And Shamar literally stand up and say, "Hey, you did 7. Yeah. Give me 3 more." You know what I mean? You got to go 3 more. And then they were like, and then I was there capturing, so we had to run the playback where Shamar pointed to the camera and said, "Hey, the camera's watching you." You know what I mean? So give me my 3 push-ups. And that's great, because you're going to see that there's a competition within the competition, right? Like, these are the most elite players at their national levels. And this is a percentage of people that's going to play for their national team. It's only, 14 spots a year? So imagine each year we might get 2, 3, maybe 4 new faces on the national team. So, like, we got to understand that these folks are the most competitive people that each country has to offer, So.
And they're stars for a reason.
Yeah.
The other thing is this. I remember years ago, Gario, many, many years ago, when the iPhone was populating the App Store. And, I remember an ad. I'm trying to remember what the product was. And, somebody said, what if I could so and so with my phone? And a disinterested lady said, there's an app for that.
Yeah.
And everything they said, there's an app for that.
Yeah.
JFF Live subscribers who are saying, well, it's 2025, man. I mean, why is there not a JFF Live app? Do we have any news for them?
Yeah, I'm proud to announce, I know Mr. Chung let the cats out of the bag a little bit the other day on one of his interviews, but we're going to make it official today. We are working on an app. And the timeline of the app is obviously we're going to have 3 different phases. The JFF Live app is in the works, people. The first phase and the second phase, we're going to have our JFF Live members be a part of that testing process, the trial process. They'll receive links to test it out before it even hit the market. And then obviously right now we're scheduled on pace to get this app out before 2026 Olympic year. So I'm sorry. World Cup year. I'm sorry, Olympic was last year. World Cup year for the men's. So we are currently tracking right now to get a trialing going by July. So that's a matter of a couple of months, people. So if you're a JFF Live members right now, stick around for that process. The app is coming. You're going to be able to trial it and give us your honest feedback. We're talking about roster spots, right? Scheduling, stand-ins, purchasing tickets, QR codes, going to the shop to purchase yourself a jersey, right? You know what an app look like. You know what a sports app look like. I'm sure you're using one right now. However, we're going to do it JFF Live, and we're going to make it around Jamaica and what Jamaicans need, make our day-to-day life easier.
Yeah, I'm not putting pressure on the developers for the app, but I want to ask this question because I'm sure people are wondering. So I have the JFF Live app. Yeah. The Reggae Boys are playing a game, or the Reggae Girls are playing a game, and I'm at work. I don't have the time to be interacting with the game as I usually do. I want to follow it sneaky, so I want to know if there is built-in audio commentary, text commentary, or even audio commentary, text commentary. Are these what you're looking to put into the app? Because that's the way of apps these days.
Absolutely, and it's called Gamecast, right? I'm big at Gamecasting, where it's like you might not necessarily see the game itself, but you will see the score, when they scored, the time of the game. And while you're at work, you might take a sneak peek on your phone, right? You might take a little glance at what the score is, how far along the game is, when it's halftime, how much time we have left, and then go ahead and check the game. So you're gonna have that option as well.
Absolutely. So well, so in totality, JFF Live is going into the modern age. Yeah. It's taking its subscribers with them. And it is promising an experience. And look, you're not pretending at Kingston Made Productions to be representing all wise men and wise women in the world. You're taking on ideas. So if people have ideas and feedback on how they can improve things, you're open to suggestion.
No, exactly. And that's what I said in my very first press conference when we first started broadcasting the games. I said, hey, I want to come down and work with local Jamaicans who are already in this space. However, there will be trial and errors. So we do want honest opinions. We do want honest feedbacks. We want to make sure folks along the way are getting the best quality. But you have to start somewhere. And that's where we're starting now.
Hear you on that.
Yeah.
JFF Live, a portal of goodness, and with news that the app is coming, it's sure to make even more people sign up to the platform for the broadcast of games. And speaking of broadcasting, the plan for the broadcast of games resides in the brain of the General Secretary of the JFF, Dennis Chung. He is an amateur footballer. I always see him walking in football kind of shoes everywhere I see him, and he's never kicked a ball in his life. He loves the game, but he can't play the game. But we won't hold that against Dennis Chung, because the important and substantive reason for his presence at the JFF is franked by how the organization has been turned around financially. Dennis, welcome to the discussion, sir.
Man, thanks, Charles. Well, you know, the level I play at, you're not there yet. So you want to me.
You're right. I no human being is at that level but you. Yeah? That is where the broadcast of games is concerned. For those who are subscribers to JFF Live, what can you tell, not us, but tell them?
Well, what we are trying to do is ensure that the football gets to everyone, the JFF football. And it came home to us very clearly when we did the Jamaica-Trinidad game, which showed that of the 101,000 views that happened within a week. And that's important to understand, because the U.S. men's national team actually played a few weeks before, and it took them 4 weeks to get to 101,000 views.
In a population of 300 plus million.
Right. And we have a population of 3 million here and 3 million abroad. We had 101,000 views in a week, which shows the interest in JFF football. That 82% of those persons were overseas.
Yes.
Right? What it shows is that the way we have been broadcasting the games in the past, in terms of just locally, we have not been satisfying the market.
Yes.
And therefore, what we're trying to do with broadcasting our games through our YouTube channel and other platforms, and also not just the games, but bringing persons, things like this, George, right? You know, the podcasts, which we carefully selected you for.
Oh,
to start. Yes.
Honored, sir. Honored.
Right. And the JFF news and that sort of thing is to bring greater transparency and the happenings of JFF to our audience globally. And I think we're succeeding to do that. As I said, you know, out of that 101,000 views, some 82,000 persons were from overseas, from as far away as Japan and, you know, Eastern Europe and those places. So we're just trying to do that. So one of the things that we do when we play friendlies, for example, is we ensure that we have written into it that we have the ability to take the feed and actually broadcast it locally.
You know, one of the things I find frustrating about the broadcast of, say, Champions League games, and for thankfully I was in a position for many years where I was leading Champions League broadcasts throughout the season, match week by match week, and then having presenting the big final show. And I said to myself, well, when the companies have so much material in terms of highlights, goals, moments in games, you know, we say in Jamaica, man, salad a man. Internationally, they say nutmeg, but we say salad. A man, pile a man, they say sombrero in South America. What happens to that content? Because the people who own that content don't put it on any platform for anybody to see. It's almost like they hide it. And I'm saying, why are you locking it in a vault? Yeah. Is it the plan of the JFF to its subscribers through JFF Live to make all of this content available as a subscriber?
Absolutely. Which is why, you know, the team that we have here working on the podcast, the teams that we have working at the games, we bring in the editor. You know, our editor will be on everything, right? To give those special moments, right? Whether it's a solid, a pal, you know, a goal, whatever it is that you want to keep seeing and replay to share with your friends and share your social media platforms. Put it up on all platforms so you can go ahead and rewatch and reshare. So that's why we're here.
Dennis, standards matter. And where the broadcast of games is concerned, people are not judging the JFF live experience to anything locally. They're judging it to what they watch on on TNT Sport in the UK, on the BBC, on Sky, on CBS in the USA. They want that kind of experience for what they spend. And Jamaicans will tell you that, look, even if the subscription service costs €300 and I pay €1, I want the €300 experience for the €1 I pay. Whatever you charge me, give me premium quality.
Yeah.
Can you give them the assurance that the JFF Live experience will be enhanced so that it meets and accords with the standards that they're used to in watching international content?
Oh, definitely. We're always improving it. And if you look at the content from when we just started to now, it has significantly improved. I mean, thanks to Gario. Gario has worked with large companies like Amazon and all
The boy's CV is good.
Yeah, a good CV on paper. But Gary has been doing a fantastic job.
Yes.
His team here, with MG here, military, locally, and I think they've been doing great. I mean, they've added a few cameras, so it's not just one camera that we have anymore. And I think the quality has been very good. We looked at carefully things like even the bandwidth. So it's very detailed in terms of what we look at. These guys have the ability now. They have drones and everything to take aerial shots and replays and that sort of thing. So we're improving more and more as we go along. And importantly, is that we have the social media platform to take it everywhere. That's important. So it's not a closed cable channel.
Yes.
Once you have a subscription, you can go on and see it. And we do share a lot of the content also on our platforms, or our social media platforms. So like the salad and the pie, we'll extract those things.
Yes.
And we'll share that out there.
Gario, when Dennis speaks of the breadth of the interest in the Reggae Boys content, I immediately started thinking of older content that would have predated myself and yourself. Dennis is a very old guy, so he would have been around that. We're young people, so we understand. But the old footage of some of our legends, the footage that is best quality, or even the footage that your team can restore to good enough quality, is it in the prospects that subscribers to JFF Live and those who will subscribe to the app when it hits the road, that they'll be able to look at some of the best old-time footage of old-time Premier League games in Jamaica, old-time Reggae Boys games, that famous Walter Boyd goal at the Azteca shown in good quality? Are you promising them this down the line?
Well, what I can promise is that's the aim, because we have to go through the archives and see what we can show on our platform, because a lot of those things might have branding rights or whatever the case may be, or JFF just didn't had any internal capturing of it, right?
Right, or any proprietary rights to it, yes.
But whatever we have that we can show, we have to dug through. I've only been around for 2.5 months now, 3 months. So we're gonna go through. Simon or Preston, our press manager, is amazing. He's like a JFF historian, and we're constantly working and. We highlight players now in JFF News. We're going to be shouting out legends and have legends throwbacks. So all these things are in the works, just like this podcast. So we do want to bridge that gap to the legends as well, and showing the creative, the videos, the images from the past is a must. And we're digging through to see what we can do with it, and not just post it out as a one-time thing, but actually package something around it.
Dennis, we could not have this Executive Corner podcast without touching on the issue of the financial health of the JFF. We'd be irresponsible if we didn't speak about it, because in the past, critics of the JFF leadership have credibly and legitimately used its bad finances to beat it, to say that the JFF isn't well run because as they say in the streets in Jamaica, the money part now run right. The finances were a shambles. The debt was a millstone around the JFF's neck. It stymied development. You are a man schooled in growth and development and the movement of numbers, and how improvements can't be had without the requisite spend to back the plans that you have. That's a different situation with the JFF now. The numbers are moving in the right direction.
It is different. For the past 2 fiscal years, calendar years, we've made surpluses, growing surpluses. And for the first 2 months of this year, we're actually in a surplus situation. We have gotten out of restricted funding, right, with FIFA, which a lot of MAs are still there.
And take up in, don't move. When you say restricted funding, I wanted to break it down even further. Would I be, well, I'm not oversimplifying it by saying a child going to school who usually gets $10 for their lunch money, but your parents only gave you $1.50 because you weren't behaving right. And they said, well, subject to you sorting out your behavior and according to the standard of conduct that I expect, you'll get the other $8.50 unlocked over time. But for now, you have to make it with $1.50 out of the 10. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so effectively what FIFA was saying is based on where you are, it doesn't seem as if you have the ability to manage the money. So if I give you the $10 one time, you're going to spend off everything the first day. So they say, you know what? I'm going to give you $2 a day. Right? And I'm not giving you $10 lunch money at the start of the week. Every day I give you $2 to make sure you eat. Right? What FIFA is saying now is that we have shown through our processes and our financial governance that we are now able to manage that $10. So initially what they're going to do, and we've agreed this, is that they're still not going to give us the $10 initially up front. They're going to say, okay, I'll give you $55 now, and then $5 another time. And then you gradually get to the point where you get the $10 up front because, they want to make sure that everything runs properly. But, where we are now, we've improved the governance significantly. We've improved the processes, the policies that are in place. Financially, we're okay. We've paid up the boys, paid up the girls, we really don't owe. I mean, we still owe a little bit, but nothing of any significance. If we don't pay it sometimes because we don't have the supportive invoices. So once we get them, we'll just say, okay, fine, we'll pay it. But we're in a much better position now than we were. And we haven't really had any issues of anybody saying, boy, you owe us this and for this period of time. No, and we don't want to go back there.
Yeah, and as you know very well, in my former life, I had a significant role in what happened with the Trinidad and Tobago Football Association and the normalization committee that was installed, because of how badly run that organization was at that time, or some ridiculous contracts weighing down the federation, the association. You're saying that is not the case with the JFF. There are no ridiculous contracts that are compromising your ability to take care of the bread and butter.
No. I mean, whatever was there, we've sorted out. It has been 2 years, 2 and something years, and it's never easy. But what you do, you have the vision, what you want to achieve, and we've gotten out of that. So we don't have those issues now.
And just to drive the last nail in the piece of ply, Dennis, you're saying that the JFF as a business and as a going concern, meaning a business that can self-sustain over a reasonable period of time, the JFF is firmly on the path now and can genuinely be referred to as a going concern.
Well, George, it's funny that you say that because the audit report that we just got has removed the going concern qualification, which has been there for the past over 20 years.
Wow.
So for the first time in over 20 years, we no longer have a going concern qualification.
Wow.
Totally clean.
And I never knew this when I was asking the question.
Right.
So there
Totally
you go.
clean audit report now.
Yeah.
So, I think that's even bigger news for me than the lifting of the restricted funding, because it's saying that the external auditors are saying, listen, we do not think that you are going to fail as a business.
And Gario, Kingston Made Productions then comes to the table at a very good time in the history of the JFF when there is
I timed it right.
a profession. You timed it perfectly, man. It's a perfect situation where the finances are in order. You as a professional are now working in a professional structure where you know what exists to support the activities that you have to do. So all your job is now is to go and create value and give value to the subscribers.
No, absolutely, and that's what it is. Like Mr. Chung touched on it before, like Unity Cup, which was just announced. Jamaica will be a part of a 4-team match with Trinidad, Ghana, Nigeria in London. We're going to be broadcasting these games. Kingston Made Production, JFF Live, we will be in London. Watch parties now. So we're giving back to the people who have been the most loyal to the Jamaica Football Federation, which are the fans. Whether they're angry, upset, or happy, they've been around. So now we're going to be touching these different corners of the world. And when you see JFF Live is having an event Kingston Made Production is producing something on behalf of JFF Live, then you know it is a Jamaica community, Jamaica funded, and it's because we're now able to breathe and think creatively now. We're able to think. Obviously, business is still the main mindset. It's to how do we continue to grow our brand, and that's the focus. Mr. Chung knows we already very successful on the YouTube platform, and now we continue to grow and generate revenues outside of YouTube. So JFF Live is much more than just watching the games. It's now we're going to come and touch you in your cities, in your communities.
Yeah, and then this last thing I want to say to you, I want to put it to you this way. Rather than looking at the future in the dead of night with the aid of a flashlight, the JFF is now looking at the future, the way forward, in the broad light of day.
Yeah, what we realize now, before the light that was coming in the tunnel was a train. And now we know it's the end of the tunnel.
Yes.
You know, and therefore we're happy for that. I mean, much credit I always give to my staff.
Yes.
You know, it could not have been done without the staff here. They've been amazing. One of the things that Gario just mentioned, I want to pick up on, George. What we have done, and one of my main objectives with the JFF Live, is that we now control our content.
Yes.
And that for me is value.
Yes.
You know, a lot of artists say, boy, we want to control, well, we now control our content.
Yes. They don't control their publishing or their masters.
No,
You do.
We control
Yes.
it now.
Yes.
So we have the rights over everything. We can market that, and that really is where the value is.
Absolutely so.
You know.
Gary, any last words from you before we close?
Well said, Mr. Chung, because that's exactly how we connected. We connected on that, where it's like, hey, it's time to tell our story, tell the player's story, give the players a chance to have their stories out there as well, and that's the ultimate goal, connect our athletes, our executives to our number one assets, which are the fans.
Executive Corner, this is the debut episode. I promise you that it'll be something worth your while watching weekly as we put this podcast on air. And speaking of weekly, in another week from now, we're going to have a couple of your favorite players to speak to talk about their career, talk about their lives, their ordinary lives, and talk about their dreams and aspirations as footballers. I won't tell you the names, but let me tell you, these two players represent the best of attacking football and the best of defensive football. Yeah, no in between, no in the middle. Attack, defense gives you an idea, and they're flying, both of them, in the Royal Navy Jamaica Premier League at this time for their respective teams. So as we said, it's a lot. JFF Live app coming, broadcast of games that you'd have had to depend on the newspaper for the results or some dodgy gambling site for the result. No. Kingston Made Productions is broadcasting these games live for you. Watch parties live. So talking about Unity Cup, you're talking about Gold Cup, you're talking about in-camp footage of the players. The man says he's going to organize a water bottle juggling contest among the reggae boys and reggae girls when he's in camp. I'm very keen to see that. And he's capturing the best bits as the players, just build the camaraderie in camp before they take to the field as gladiators in the national colors. All of those things are not promises, they are pledges that Kingston Made Productions is going to make real through the JFF Live app, which you will be able to use very soon. But as current subscribers to JFF Live, you'll be able to enjoy the world of content before it hits anywhere else. And look, the Gen 6 said something very powerful at the end. The JFF owns its content. It doesn't have to be held hostage by any broadcaster about its own content that it generates through the men and women representing it on the field. It owns these things now, and so it can be even more generous in sharing this content with you across various social media platforms. It's a great time to be alive. It's a great time to be a football fan, and it's a good time to be associating with the Jamaica Football Federation. Until next week, goodbye.